Hey everybody, it's Brooks here, Senior Pastor, First Baptist Church of the Islands. Thank you for joining me for today's 5 for 5 video devotional. So this week we are talking about the concept of incarnational ministry. Now that may sound like a big term. It's really not anything difficult to grasp. But when you think about incarnational ministry, it tracks back to the whole nature of the incarnation, meaning when God put on flesh in the person of Jesus, and he came that first Christmas. Right, that's the incarnation. That is God coming on site, showing up for us. Jesus being born and living out his life on this earth for 33 years in sinless perfection, dying on the cross in our place as our substitute, as our sacrifice, then rising again, and then ultimately ascending back to the Father. And so all of that is the incarnation. In the book of John chapter 1, I think it really kind of explains the nature of that. In John chapter 1, verse 1, it says, "In the beginning was the Word." That's a reference to Jesus. "And the Word was with God, and the Word was God." Now it talks about his creative work, but when you get down to verse 14, it says, identifies who the Word is. It says, "The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. We observed his glory, the glory as the one and only Son from the Father, full of grace and truth." And so it identifies who the Word is. The Word is with God. The Word is God. It says the Word became flesh, dwelt among us, very obviously talking about Jesus. But that phrase there that he dwelt among us, that word specifically dwelt could also be translated as tabernacled. In other words, it means that he pitched his tent among us. Again, it's that whole concept of Emmanuel, God with us. That's how God chose to redeem us. He came, literally, he came for us. So whenever we think about Jesus's ministry, it was incarnational. He was amongst people. He wasn't in heaven calling down the play, right? calling down instructions. He was here with us. He was in the huddle. He was on the field. He was playing the game of life with us. And he did it sinlessly. He did it as our Redeemer, as our Savior. So when you think about incarnational ministry, listen, if you're a follower of Jesus, you have a ministry. Now, some of your ministry may be within the walls of the church. Much of your ministry is likely outside the walls of the church, ultimately to live as a missionary every day, right? To introduce people to Christ, to show what he looks like through the life that you live. Now, the way we do that best is not by standing, on the curb of our property and just yelling instructions to people. No, the best way to reach people for Christ is with that same incarnational model. We involve our lives in their lives, right? We get to know people. We become friends with them. We invest our lives in them, not manipulatively. We don't do it for that reason. We do them because hopefully we love them as we love our neighbor as ourselves. And we invest our life there, and we do life together, and we walk through the valleys together, and we celebrate the mountain peaks together. And we do that incarnationally, life on life, the same way Jesus did. So that in many ways, we kind of earn the right to be heard. We earn the trust of our friends and of our neighbors and those who see us from a distance. And when the opportunity arises, we're able to bring Jesus into the conversation. We're able to demonstrate his love in very practical ways. And so think about how you can live your life in the context of incarnational ministry, not from a distance, but involved in the lives of people. And ask God to give you boldness to do that. That's what the early church prayed for. They prayed for boldness. Ask him to give you the boldness to live out the life of Christ before others, involved in their lives, to give you a heart that loves your neighbor as yourself, and to give you boldness as well to speak the words of life, the message of the gospel. How can you do that this week? Hey, it's Christmas. It's really easy. The doors are open to show the love of Christ and to speak the truth of Christ into the lives of others. And so you aim to do that through the course of this week, and then tune in the rest of this week for the rest of these 5 for 5 devotionals dealing with the whole topic of the incarnational ministry. God bless you. Have a great day.